SpaceX has announced its first officially mobile service, Starlink Maritime. Starlink for boats, assuming you have a boatload of money. Hi, I'm Chris with the Mobile Internet Resource Center, here to give you an update on SpaceX's Starlink, and in particular, their first officially mobile service offering. Now, last week we gave you an update that SpaceX had gotten FCC authorization to begin offering a Starlink on Earth stations in motion, or basically service onto vehicles, and we were wondering when the first service offering would come along, and well, they wasted no time. Just yesterday, they announced Starlink Maritime, put up a new web page and all the details of a new service of Starlink for boats. But before cruisers get too excited, the target market is clearly more commercial, marine, ships, larger vehicles, or super wealthy mega yachts, or just yachts for the very wealthy, because, well, this pricing is the first thing we get out of the way. Hardware, $10,000 up front, service, $5,000 a month. That is pretty pricey. So what do you get, and where can you go with Starlink Maritime? First off, on the hardware front, the hardware they're actually offering off the bat is you're getting, for the $10,000, you're getting 2 Starlink terminals. Elon Musk says that's to compensate for rough seas and potential conditions in the ocean that would make it harder to lock onto a satellite. So you get actually 2 Starlink terminals, and they're the same terminals, it appears, that are being sold to Starlink Business customers. These are the new high-performance Starlink terminals. They're bigger, physically bigger, about twice the size of the residential normal dishy system. So a physically bigger, higher performance Starlink receiver. You get 2 of them and 2 pole mounts, so you can mount them on, different sides of your boat to maximize your chance of being able to lock onto a satellite. Now, the Starlink Business system costs $2,500. 2 of them would be $5,000. So they're basically, you're getting $10,000, you're getting 2 of them. Not sure why they're justifying that extra cost, but, well, it's a much, much smaller market they're going after with Starlink Maritime. And then, well, on the service side, what are you going to get as far as data speeds and whatnot out of your $5,000 a month? And that's where it gets a lot harder to justify. It's $5,000 a month. You get speeds up to 350 megabits per second, down 40 megabits per second up, and they're saying latencies less than 99 milliseconds because, well, this will be serviced out to sea. I guess they're not predicting as low of latency as they have near land. Now, people used to terrestrial service think that must be that's such outrageous pricing, $5,000 a month. But when you compare it to other marine satellite offerings, both the hardware and the service plans are a lot cheaper than things that are out there. So SpaceX is undercutting the competition, but this is definitely nowhere near normal cruiser-friendly budgets. Now, okay, well, where can you take Starlink Maritime? The plus side is that, well, eventually you'll be able to get service around the world. But right now, initially at launch, Starlink Maritime has primarily got coverage on coastal areas of North America, parts of South America, Europe, Australia, New Zealand. The Gulf of Mexico is covered, a big chunk of the Caribbean is covered, and the Mediterranean is covered. So if you want to be cruising in those areas and are willing to pay $5,000 a month, SpaceX has you covered right now. They said that coming in Q4 2022, they're going to have enough of their laser-equipped satellites that allow relaying without relying on a ground station. So they're going to have enough to cover the mid-latitude. So basically, they'll be able to cross the Atlantic or the Pacific, basically in line with North America, and still have coverage anywhere out to sea, which is pretty exciting. And then will come Q1 2023, as they're forecasting, they'll be able to fill in the equatorial regions and the polar regions. So that's when they'll have enough satellites in those orbits to, well, cover Alaska, cruising Alaska, or RVing in Alaska, to cover cruising all the way down to the equator, or basically anywhere you go in the world. So there's still some time to wait before you get global coverage, but at least we've got a good timeline on that. And there's also something else that SpaceX put out that is to look forward to. They say when you order a Starlink Maritime, that $10,000 system, that you will have an option in Q4 2022 to upgrade to a flat panel design. So this will probably be a truly next generation dishy, not just a repurposed version of the Starlink Business system, but a design that no longer needs to have any sort of pivoting ability, and it'll just be able to be mounted flat and aim up. Might have no moving parts whatsoever because there'll be enough satellites and, well, a new technology, more rugged, dishy design. So that's coming in Q4 2022 is when you'll be able to trade in your first generation Starlink Maritime system for that. Now, what about a version that is much more cruiser friendly for people who are not on a mega yacht or commercial marine budget? And, well, it's anyone's guess when Starlink might do this. I expect that they're going to go after the premium side of the market. They're definitely undercutting the current satellite marine offerings. And once that higher end of the market is satisfied, it does make sense for them to put some of that excess capacity to use. They'll have all these satellites out over the waters, not doing a lot. So it makes sense for them to take their next generation antennas and their next generation satellites and start to expand that service to a broader audience. But probably, seeing how they're launching Starlink Maritime at such a high tier, we're probably not expecting to see a more cruiser-friendly offering until 2023, sometime, maybe later. But it's always so hard to predict what SpaceX is up to. But still, well, we now know what their first maritime offering is, and, well, if you've got the money to afford it, let us know how it works.
These videos are brought to you by our premium members, our mobile internet aficionados. They make it possible for us to track this news and create these videos. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, or better yet, consider becoming a member yourself.